Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jose Ortiz.
And I'm Mario Benitez. And this week we're talking about out of control people. Everybody from soccer fans hiding in vents to attempts on the former president's life.
This is another episode of Saturday Gigantic.
How much time do you think collectively you spent on video games?
Oh my God, a lot.
It's got to be like days worth.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it really depends on I played Donkey Kong like at least 200 hours.
and just
By
Donkey
just
Kong.
just the fun factor for me made me want to keep playing it over and over again.
Yeah.
Like by the time you get to the end of the game, you forgot about what happened 3 maps ago.
Yeah, and it felt cool always doing like little rolls and tricks and shit. Like, how fast could I?
Yeah.
That was like first speed runs.
Yeah,
you know?
speed running through that shit was
I didn't even know that
greatness.
was a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
me either. I didn't really, I wasn't. There's those people who just put onto a lot of shit early, like
yeah.
or new, like there's stuff I scrolled past, like not scrolled, but passed through in like magazines, fucking EGM tips and tricks. You see
Yeah.
all that shit. It's contests and speed runs, sweepstakes and stuff like that were always like in those magazines, but you don't pay attention to that shit.
Yeah, I remember like little like you remember
I did.
cyber games and shit. Like
Yeah.
cyber games with whole little tournaments and like
Oh yeah, Cyber Games was the first place I seen fucking Smash go crazy.
yeah.
Like people were wilding out for that game. People were cutting class. I remember one time going in there at like 11 o'clock and Danny being like, "I'm sorry, you can't come in yet." I was like, "Why?" I was like, "Oh, too many kids cutting class. The police were up in there like acting like assholes."
Yeah.
That lasted like a week, and then after that, the whole hood was back in there.
That was a real hub for a little while there.
Oh, Cyber Games?
Yeah, like
sure.
does nothing really exist like that no more.
Nah, but you know what's crazy? Now you see people trying to do it again.
Yeah.
And it's like I see it pop up randomly. Like there'll be random shops, I don't know where, but you'll see random stores popping up where it's like, oh, check out this retro store where you can play old games. There's no quarters. It works off a card system. I'm like, yo, Cyber Games did that shit like 25 years ago.
At 1990, what, like 5?
Yeah, because they
6?
had cubicles. They had like setups where it's like individual TVs with like systems dedicated to that television. So
Yeah.
2 or 3 TVs had Dreamcasts on them. The other 2 or 3 had PlayStation. The other ones had N64. The other ones had GameCube later on.
And you could just pay to come.
Right, you put like $10 on a card and it deducted the minutes or whatever it was. I don't know if they were head cracking. I never really did it that often.
Bro.
I did it a few times to bust ass in WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah, I never really played there.
I played there a lot.
Yeah. I would just go home.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
did-
you were up the block.
I just say what up to everybody,
Yeah.
go home, play some games. I did remember, dude, do you remember my my PlayStation when I fucked it up?
Yo, Mario dropped a fucking pancake.
A whole pancake with syrup.
Like some real like Three Stooges shit, bro.
'Cause
Like
I'm-
he was eating in front of his TV.
My mom brings me the plate of pancakes, and I go to change the video game, and I go lean over, and the plate falls, and the pancake falls in the
right
disc
in the
tray.
disc drive.
Bro. And,
Oh my god.
bro, and I'm so, and it looks like the game, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
You were changing the game?
I was changing the game, yeah.
Yeah, I'll
And-
never forget that because I'll never forget that because the next time I go over to his house,
Your game is sticky?
his shit was on his side. His PlayStation was standing sideways, no stand. He just had it like leaning against something, and I'm like, "What the fuck's going on here?" He's like, "Oh man, nah, that's the only way the game will play." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yo, but that trick,
He's like,
that
"Ah,
trick
I
was
had a
real.
pancake, and yeah, the inside was dumb sticky."
Yeah, I wonder if people know about that.
Nah,
Like, it
they
has to
know,
be-
but you know what's crazy? I started seeing what it was. People started flipping it upside down.
Yeah.
Later on.
I remember.
It's like you got the Walkman, you gotta turn the headphones to get them to work. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta pinch them like at a 64-degree angle.
Bro, I remember I felt like the man when it was one of the little girls you knew. Like, well, they were older. You were older than me, so she was
Yeah.
older than me at the time. So I'm like, and her PlayStation was messed up. I was like, yo, turn it upside down. And she's like 2 or 3 years older than me, and I'm looking at her like, yo, no, I'm gonna lie, I'm probably like 13.
Yeah.
I think like 12,
Who
13.
was that?
I don't even want to say the name. I know who it is, but I'm not gonna say the name. But I'm looking at her like, yeah, turn that upside down. You know, little 13, and she turns it upside down, and her PlayStation started working. We were all there. I was like,
Like I vaguely remember that.
yeah, and she was like, damn, how'd you do? And I was like, no, it's no problem.
You thought you murdered it right there.
I did though. Her
No, you did,
PlayStation
you
was
did.
messed up, and she's looking at me like, oh, I'm like, yeah, that's me right there, ma. Holla at me. I know I'm a little preteen right now.
I ran out of cards, but I would have gave you one right now. Yeah.
I remember I had to. Do you remember my Metal Gear Solid went missing?
Oh, bro.
Bro,
You want to tell that story?
I'm gonna tell that story.
Don't tell
bro.
that story, man. I'm not.
Yeah.
It don't feel right for me to tell that story for you.
Nah, bro, I did. I'm like, yo, where did my Metal Gear Solid go, man? Yo, and my fucking mom's X-ray took that shit.
Man's was down
Man,
bad.
took that shit to sell that shit and buy some coke or some shit.
But you
bro.
had the original too, the blue disc.
Yeah, bro. I remember I was so hurt. I was like, yo, where'd it go?
Bro, I was hurt for you because I used to borrow that shit a lot. So I'm like, damn, you lost it. I lost that.
Back then, you would have a game and like you would really cherish it because, dude, it wasn't like
Nah, you
it wasn't
weren't
like
gonna
today
get it.
you beat it and then you never go back to it.
Or not even that. It wasn't just, you couldn't even just get a digital.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was all there was. And you were gonna pay like at least 60 rocks.
Yeah, and dude, that was an arm and a leg back then. I remember
Hell
being so
yeah.
hurt about that, and then like, yo, finally figuring it out. Like,
Oh, damn.
I can't believe my man stole this from me.
My man did that.
Yeah,
Like damn.
that was hurtful right there. What's that game coming out this weekend? The college football,
Oh,
What's
the
it called? The
Matt.
NCAA, right?
NCAA college football.
Yeah,
That's a big deal.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
people
It's been
are
how long?
like 15, like I don't know, like 12, 13 years.
That's
I'm
crazy.
probably off by a few years.
That's
But-
a
I think 2014 was the last one.
wow.
Oh wow, so yeah, 10 years. That's a long
10
ass
years.
time.
Yeah, now that's like they finally got the likeness of all the players and whatnot. That's cool. People finally getting money.
Yeah,
Because all the
dope.
college players used to get screwed for years.
Yeah, they put fake names and stuff like
Even
like
for
aliases,
merchandise
right?
and everything.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, so it was like all the colleges and like sponsorships making money off of them, and what year did that change, Matt? That they like college players started getting like money based off of stuff like that,
I think last year.
like jersey sales. Damn, just last year.
Yeah.
So they must have
NIL.
made billions of dollars.
Bro, I mean,
Dude, there's players who don't want to go to the NFL because they're making millions in playing college.
Yeah,
wow. They just want to be in college forever.
yeah. I'm studying to be a marine biologist.
Yeah, it's gonna do. I have
I'm doing 12 years in this program.
Like you see guys for like they're in there for like 5 years. They don't want to leave.
Yeah, I'm doing liberal arts for 16 years.
I mean, but if you, I don't know if that's it. I really don't know jack shit about the football world. Like I was always more of a me and Mario played ball a lot, like basketball. We'd play football, but it wasn't like I was ever sitting down watching that shit crazy.
Yeah, I was for a minute.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
But how does that work in terms of like, do they honor that agreement? Like, let's say you're making $1 million straight out of college. When you go to the NFL, do they have to honor that? Like, you know how sometimes you leave one job, you
That's
go
a
to
good-
the
that's
next
actually-
job?
Yeah, are you gonna make more
Are
money?
you going to make more money?
You are
Are you going to
stepping
make the
up.
same money and better? Like a
Every
percentage
year,
better?
every year.
Mm.
So they make that money, and then the next year they, like you can make $1 million 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go to another school the next year and make another $1 million.
Wow.
That's not bad.
They're pretty much like they're employees now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they should be,
Yeah.
because
Shit, that's a tough sport. Putting your body on the line. There's a lot of
Yeah.
motherfuckers that get injured in college and never make it to the NFL.
They make billions off their names.
Yeah, make that
that's
bag,
the thing.
bro.
Business always sticking it to the man, bro.
Shit, if I was an ill college like football player, I'd probably do as long as I could in college, make as many millions as I could, and then start funding like startups.
Yeah,
Like, yo, go to somebody who has a good track record.
you think
of,
like that now, but back then, are you just thinking about?
I mean, back then
bagging
I wasn't
checks
playing.
and,
Nah,
like-
back then I
Yeah.
wasn't playing ball though, bro. If I had anything like that back then, I would have
Yeah.
definitely turned into a motherfucking accountant.
I would
I
love
would
to
have been.
think-
I would have got mature real quick. When you start talking millions, I think
Yeah.
it's just all about. It depends on your situation.
I would love to think that's how it would be, but I also don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, you would think you would be smart and stuff, but if you're making millions, it's like anybody at a young age. You see how they must blow through money because they don't have no idea of like needing security. And,
That's
like,
true.
And health issues and whatnot.
that's true.
And like,
But then you have a lot of kids who come out of like. You always knew those kids who were like crazy smart with bread, had like 800 credit score at
Oh,
like
yeah.
19. There's motherfuckers like that would handle that differently. But yeah, for the most part, it'd probably be real hard to be humble with that bread.
Yeah, there's no way. I think about, I wasn't even making bread like that, and any easy money that came across, I spent it.
Bro, I worked at Haagen-Dazs for a full summer, and I was getting paid off the books, working like fucking 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., like 4 days a week. Every other day was a party. Do you remember those days?
Yeah, dude, it was
Dog.
all just hanging out.
I was hanging out. I hung out every day.
Yeah.
Every fucking day of that year. I was not home. I was work chilling. I was making like 500 a week, and I thought I was fucking. I thought,
Zuckerberg.
bro, I thought I was Musk out here.
The ice cream
Oh,
Zuckerberg.
you want that Chinos? You want that?
That's
That's nothing.
nothing right there.
It's just $20.
What you need? You want egg rolls? And I get a large iced tea.
Oh, y'all good? Y'all good? This is on me. Y'all know that, right?
Bro, I remember when I got my first, like, when I was working 2 jobs, like,
Oh my God.
bro, I remember feeling like,
Dude, you were Bill Gates.
bro, I remember seeing my ex at the time, like, and I pulled up with 2 phones.
Ooh.
'Cause I didn't give her my new number yet. So I had my
Oh, shit, I
old
gotta
phone about to end, and I had to, this is like the first iPhone. And I'm like,
You act like you forgot which phone is. Yo, text me real quick. Let me see something.
yeah. And she's like, oh, you got the new.
Text me real quick. Huh?
Yeah.
I gave you this one. This is the old joint. Here. Put your phone.
Yeah.
Put your number in that one.
Yeah, dude, I remember being
You tried
super
that.
cocky with that, bro.
Yeah.
That's going back to football though. Did you see did you see Colombia take
Oh,
that L
brother,
yesterday?
listen,
bro?
yo. What happened?
Yo, bro.
I woke up to thousands of Colombians sneaking in through air vents to try to get into a into a soccer game they didn't have tickets for.
Nah, yeah. It
That's-
took place in Miami too, right?
That is like that's Puerto Rican parade in the 90s activity. Like they do that. That's got to be the most dangerous shit. I've never even heard of that. And then they started rushing the gates,
Yeah, dude.
and you like
All that to lose.
Yeah, like I mean, the game was still going on too. Like I know
Yeah.
they had to pull players off the field and control that, but that shit could have easily turned into Astro fucking world,
Yeah.
like a
someone-
stampede situation.
There's people who paid thousands of dollars for tickets.
Yeah.
And they weren't allowed in because people were sitting in their seats already.
Wow.
Oh nah, but that's
They
ridiculous.
were like, yeah, there's nothing we can do.
They just didn't want no fights to break out or something like that. Not enough security. With games like that, dude, because I
Wow.
think the World Cup is coming here soon. They're gonna be doing games, I think, in New York, Chicago.
Yeah,
Like, dude, it's gonna be insane. I do respect the level of like, I'm one of those guys. I'm a casual who will watch like.
I'm a casual as fuck. Kind of like I'm gonna sit there and act like I care.
Yeah,
That
I can
1
watch the
week,
World Cup.
I'm gonna sit there and enter conversations. Yo,
Yeah.
that's crazy what they did yesterday, right? You saw.
Yo, that game was wild.
Yo,
0-0, bro.
Yo, shit, like, yo, I saw it. It was loco, bro.
Yo, that kick to with his right leg, boo.
Yo, he kicked it around, and the guy did it, and then he blocked it. I said,
And then he went like this, boo. I was like, yo.
Yo, that guy, what's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget. Yo, there's so many good ones, man. I forget the names, all of them.
Surprisingly, I do know a bit more than a little bit about it. I do think it's interesting because you think about how like passionate just like sport. So like basketball in America, right? It's cities, But once you go to the world level, like Olympics, and you get to talk shit for your country,
Yeah.
that's like something that's just like fun,
Yeah.
So it's like the battle between Latin countries all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, that shit is just don't sneak into no vents.
yeah,
That's just ridiculous behavior, bro.
probably somebody got lost and shit. They got stuck
What's
in a
sad
vent.
about that is that it was one dude who probably found that out. Like, yo, I heard if you go through that vent right there, take you straight into the joint.
Yeah.
Like, yo, there's no cops around or nothing, and like 4,000 people went right behind that one guy and made it hot. And then somebody recorded it. It's like videos all over TikTok. Like, yeah, I really wore them pretty ass yellow jerseys to get them all dusty
Yeah.
in them air vents.
Dude, I saw this Colombian girl's Instagram stories. Yeah. And it was like celebrating, like dancing,
Yeah.
and then like you see the Shakira performance,
Uh-huh.
and it's like singing along, mad happy, and then right after it with like a drink, and then the next one is just crying.
Damn.
I was like, yo, that's it.
Because they lost.
Yeah, because they lost. It was such celebratory to
Wherever, whatever.
Yeah, for real. Yo,
We're
no
meant
lie.
to lose together.
Yo, for real, bro.
And then you see those posts afterwards, win or lose. That's my team forever.
Yeah,
Like,
there's never like in baseball, I guess that's like where you get to see Puerto Rico versus like DR and shit like that.
yeah.
But Puerto Ricans are not that. I don't know if they're that good at soccer. I don't
Bro,
think
I
they're
don't know
good at
not
football.
one. Get out of here, bro. I don't know that one soccer player that's Puerto Rican.
We need to come see us in handball.
I'm not saying
though.
they don't exist. I already said I'm not a like big soccer enthusiast or nothing.
No,
like
there's
that.
got to be a lot
I
of
mean,
them.
there
yeah.
gotta be like a whole team of them and shit.
Yeah.
I just don't know them, but
But you
like,
come see us in handball, we taking that World Cup.
the World Cup of hand, bro. Listen,
World Cup of handball.
the only people fucking with Puerto Ricans when it comes to the handball championship of the world is Chinatown down here.
Oh yeah.
The Chinatown team downtown.
You got the Italians too.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stick. Boricua's got the World Cup
Boricua's bomb,
handball.
baby.
handball chip.
When you see a Puerto Rican dude who's like in his 50s and put on gloves with the
With the
fingers cut off, and he got the tank top,
My man's ready for action.
ready for all of that action.
My man's ready.
Bro, I used to play handballs with like, you used to play handballs.
You used to play handballs with what? Pause. Pause with that one. I love handballs.
Yo,
I love balls in my hands.
I used to play handball with a bunch of dudes that like my mom and aunt were just like cordial with around
Yeah.
the way. Like they would see him and they'd be like, hey, what's going on? And they'd get into games like right across the street.
Yeah, 100th Street, right?
Yeah, right across the street. But bro, like it's crazy looking back now. Like it was fine or whatever.
Yo, didn't you run into the handball wall once?
Bro, I did. Yo, what's crazy is my mom brought that shit up recently.
Really?
Listen, there was a game. People had many different names for it. For us, it was called.
The people call it something online, like they.
Yeah,
have
there's like different names for it, but
Yeah.
it was basically a game where a bunch of people standing behind the line in the front of the handball wall or whatever, in front of the wall, and the person who hits it off the wall, you have to catch it, right?
Yeah, I think you would try to throw it like and bounce it, and
Yeah.
whoever, and you just have to catch it, and then you get the next throw.
Right, and whoever catches it but doesn't catch it, like
If
what
they go
happens?
for
They
it,
have to run for the wall, and
and
then
you get to throw it at them.
yeah,
and hit
throw it
with
at them and hit them with it. And if
Yeah.
not, they have to stand on the wall and get what was that shit called?
Just
Stand
hit
on the
'em in
wall.
You throw the ball at them. Yo, we
What
have
the fuck?
violent games. Yo, dude, you
Yo.
would go for people's heads.
People-
Yo, it would yo, don't move. Don't move. Yo,
No, he moved. Yo, don't look back. It's gonna hit you in the face.
yeah.
But yeah, no. One time I was running. It was one of those games, and it was intense. And I was running, and I went to go for the catch, and the shit hit my finger and rolled off. So I knew I had to hit the wall before they try to hit me. Bro, I ran, and I'm looking back at the same time. I'm thinking I have mad distance. I end up just, as soon as I fucking turn, boop, the wall's right there. I just ran straight into that shit like some Looney Tune shit.
Yeah.
Fell straight back like.
He's in the
I
birds.
had the crazy chichong. My fucking grandfather suggested putting butter and salt.
Yo,
on it.
that butter and salt.
I probably should have been taken to the hospital.
You got CTE.
Butter.
And they
I got brain
and they
damage.
seasoned you.
Yo,
Are you-
Latinos even season their children.
Yo, bro, you heard yourself put butter and salt
Yo,
on
I
it.
had a chichong and then my
But
man
I felt
said,
like that shit worked.
Hey, ponle mantequilla y sal y ya. And I had warm butter on my fucking chichong, bro, with salt, laying there dizzy like, and they don't want to let me go to sleep.
Yeah, that was always to keep him up to see
Yo,
if he's
keep him
alright.
up. If he can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
He can't fall asleep. He might not wake up.
Season him and keep him awake.
Yo, you know, how crazy is it that you hear somebody say, don't let him fall asleep. He might not wake up.
Hey, he got butter and salt on his
Take
face.
him to the hospital. If something happens to me, I'm going to end up being in a video or some shit like that. That's neglect.
Yeah. He just
Like, You just
That
neglected.
is neglect.
Oh, boy.
Yo, you ever had any white tricks like that, Matt?
Yeah, like you have it like stuff like, oh, take a piece of carrot. And
Like if you hurt yourself, like rub some milk on it or something like that. I don't know.
yeah, like
If you have a bloody nose, you put a wet paper towel in the front of your teeth. That's one thing I know.
I never heard of that one. I heard the penny.
that shit make
penny
butter
on
and
the
salt
head.
sound absolutely scientific. Like a napkin under your teeth.
You wet it and you put it in the front of your thing. It's supposed to stop the bleeding. I don't know. It's supposed to stop the bleeding.
Somebody gotta Google that.
Yo, I wonder. Do you remember the penny? If you got a nosebleed.
Yeah, that shit never worked.
Yeah.
Keep it a buck. I need a surgery.
yeah, you used to have nosebleeds
I
all
used
the
to
time.
have nosebleeds all the fucking time for nothing. Motherfuckers thought I was on coke in like 8th grade. Like, just running around like, and then you just see my shit start leaking. Like all the time though.
Yeah.
Any type of activity, and I ended up going to the fucking doctor, and they had to put this like they came out with a crazy contraption, and it had a long tube with a light at the end, and they put that shit all the way in the back of your head. And they just spray. They sprayed like 3 or 4 times, and it's like something to do with the capillaries. It like cinches them so that it can't bleed anymore. Or at least that's how it was explained to me. It's probably so much more.
Yeah, it's probably, yeah.
But yeah, they did that shit to me, and it was the weirdest feeling. It sucked, but yeah, that I used to suffer from nosebleeds all the time for no fucking for no reason.
Yeah, that was just the stuff back then.
Jesus,
Dude,
the New York air.
Speaking about a nosebleed, you saw Trump get
Oh my gosh.
shot at?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Did it really like zoom by him, or
It hit him in the ear apparently.
or they said that it might have hit like a teleprompter or something.
I don't know. He was bleeding from his ear.
Yo.
But the theories are just absolutely.
Yeah, of course everybody's gonna think, and it's gonna be insane no matter what. Even the people on his side are probably thinking, "Oh, it's fake."
Bro,
Like-
I've seen at least 10 theories that are absolutely nuts.
Bonkers, right?
Like nuts.
She's looking. Oh, look at this guy in the back. Just
Yeah, look, she
hanging out.
has to sign up. Then she puts it down. Then she, oh my, look, bro.
Like
Not
this
everybody
ain't the Magruder
react-
film.
Yeah,
This is
this is not fucking.
I will say this, bro. That guy does not miss a photo op, bro. That right there, bro. I'm like, he did not. First of all, he's like, my shoes, my shoes, my shoes.
He said, "Let me get my shoes.
That's all he cared about was his loafers.
Let me get my
And
shoes."
then he still got a photo op. I'm like, yo, bro. I gotta give that. I can't believe even that moment,
you watch
that
that
moment of
footage,
duress to think like that,
In
to
that
think
f-
about to think about merchandising and shit. Like,
In that footage, the second after he says like, "Let me get my shoes," he starts saying, he's like, "Wait." He tells him to wait, and that's when he does the fist pump.
dude, yeah. So yeah, that's all he was caring about right there.
Yeah, and
That-
I mean, I just to straight out say it, like, I think all that shit is ridiculous. See, like, you should be able to be in the politics or do whatever you do and be a part of whatever side and not worry about getting your shit right. Like, you shouldn't. There should be no type of violence at these rallies or none of that.
But to me, it's like, dude, I get, I used to follow politics a lot.
Yeah.
But dude, like all of it now is just such a fucking farce. And I do get how you need to play a role in like from the ground up, like local politicians and voting in like councilmen and then people that really directly affect you and to change the reams on the ladder, so to say.
Yeah.
But bro, this whole thing with like people, it's just weird. People are wearing merchandise from politicians. I totally get how people are like disenfranchised right now with the system, right? Because like I think on a whole, America and the world, even with the wars we're going through right now, it's a way more peaceful time than in the past. And I don't think it's being appreciated enough, I think kind of as you get older, like even you look back at your life, you think about how much more simpler times were.
Yeah.
We could get into a real chaotic moment and like say World War III does pop off.
Yeah.
You're gonna be looking back at this time like, man, what the fuck were we doing?
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean-
like Americans being at each other's throats and shit, and it's like, yo,
I mean-
go back to like when we were like fucking, Wasn't I remember growing up, the first thing was like, don't talk about politics or religion, you know?
Yeah, that was like.
And then you would and then chop it up from there.
Yeah, and
It's
at
like,
work now, it's like the common thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, here's my thing, because anybody who knows me, I'm not like, you could talk to me for 10 hours, and politics would probably be the last thing to pop up, because I'm not like a crazy political person like that. I understand the pros and cons, and I know I'm informed on all of it, you know, but I also know that there's some shit that's just out of my hands, you know, and some stuff that's just way too convoluted for me to join the conversation, you know.
yeah.
But I feel like there's just a serious lack of respect for the past these days. It all ties into the same thing, because when I was growing up, if I was in school, if I was like 14, 15 years old, you know what, let me say 17, 18 years old, just coming out of high school or whatever. When I was my senior year of high school, September 11th just happened. That was my first year of senior year. You know, that's my senior year. I wasn't the type of person when I was in high school learning about history saying, yo, this shit is fake. This shit sounds stupid. This shit is dumb. They deserve this. They deserve that. I don't remember hearing about like Pearl Harbor or the Vietnam War or anything like that and shitting on it just because I didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
Or trying to make it into a joke. I looked at what I was shown and I just kind of drew my own conclusion from what I was reading and seeing. Now, that shit is like impossible.
Yeah, people put modern day filters and like thought
Yeah.
processes on these old things, but like, so I appreciate history. I love history, and like, you know, I understand how some history has been rewritten and whatnot. And you do have to,
Of course,
dive deeper, and there's all that, but
Yeah.
like some stuff is just what it is, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand how like little moments in time like can change the course of whole nations and millions and billions of people. Like, bro, you go back to like one of the craziest things, like in World War II, right? So like how it started with like the Archduke of France Ferdinand, World War One. I'm sorry, how him and his wife got assassinated, right? So these a terrorist group at the time, they go to bomb, right? They go to bomb like he's doing like kind of like what Donald Trump was just doing. He was having like at his nation's like White House, I forgot
Right.
the name of it, but he's having a meeting, right? He gives this meeting. 6 terrorists pull up. They set up bombs, and when he goes to give the speech, they let him go, and people start dying, but they don't get him. One guy named Princip, he goes to go eat a sandwich, bro. He goes to eat a sandwich at some bakery and listen on the radio, right? Like one of the guys that set up the bombs, and he listens on a radio to see if Ferdinand died, right? Ferdinand leaves, and some of his guys and like his security detail end up dying and going to the hospital, getting rushed there. So he tells them like, "Yo, I want to go to the hospital." He was about his people at the moment. Like, he was cool with his security, like with like the FBI, so to say, that rocked with him, right? So they're driving him. His detail is, you know, these are old ass cars, you know, those box cars. So they're driving him to the hospital where all these people were getting rushed to, right? And his car stalls. So the details like, listen, people could be watching us. We don't know who's even doing this.
Right.
We got to go a different route. They take that car, one car stalling. They take a different route. Where do they pull up in front of the guy coming out of the bakery?
Wow.
They pull up right in front of the fucking Princip. And the dude sees him after eating a sandwich and sees the car right in front. He goes up and he assassinates Ferdinand and his wife, point blank. Changing of the world. World War One happens. World War II directly happens, and it's like
It was just a moment of chance.
yeah,
Like
and
that one. If that car had not stalled, you know, it wouldn't have caused them to take a different
route.
and end up where they did. You know, that's the shit people don't think about. I just feel like everything is super. It's like there's no respect for like the fact that some of the craziest moments in time are just, you know, one moment that went wrong.
Yeah, or
You know what I'm saying?
And
Or one moment that went right for them.
Yeah,
Like
and
they
some
made it happen
guys
somehow.
it's just one guy.
Yeah.
How about Adolf Hitler, right? So Adolf Hitler during World War One, I think he was captured by British troops, and I forgot the guy's name, but he ends up having a conversation with this soldier. So I think they were just like, I think at the time some of the the troops were just kind of killing these German soldiers.
Right.
So they found them, and it was just like, we popping them. Like, we're not taking no POWs.
Right.
And he ended up like getting along with this British soldier, and they had a conversation. He was like, "Nah, leave him alone." While other people were just getting shot during World War One, and they're murking them.
Right.
He lets them live, and apparently, like, Adolf Hitler had a picture of that soldier in his house.
Wow.
He was like, "Yo, he let me live," and think about how nuts that is.
Of all people.
Out of all people. Or how about the guy? I forgot. I always forget all these people's names. But there was a Russian submarine captain, right? Who at a time they got codes that said the U.S. fired. I think it was the U.S. or somebody fired nukes at them, and he's getting he's getting wrong information to fire a nuke back.
Wow.
And they're like, "Yo, did the war just start? Like, do we gotta do it?" And everybody else is like, "Do it now, do it now." And he's the only guy that goes, "No." He was like, "No, we're not sure.
Yeah.
What's going on, bro?" He was this close to firing a nuke.
Wow.
At America from a submarine.
Yeah, off bad info.
And off of bad intel, and just like the codes being wrong. And this guy only took one guy to go. If he would have done that, we would have had to fire back.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, yo, what you...
And
now,
it looked to us like they initiated a war.
Yeah, and of course you're going to do that.
Right.
So, you look at things like this, and it's like... I look at it like what happened with Trump right now. You know? It's like... Who knows what that's going to be 100 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, it's... everybody's heard the saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And, everybody knows nobody wants war to be the outcome. Like, I know I don't. Like, nobody wants women and children dying. Nobody wants any of that.
Yeah.
There's just some things that, like, it's like, feels like the world is so used to that kind of shit happening, and it just hasn't ended around the world. Like, in America, it's different for us. But in other places in the world, the places that are war ravished or have, like, crazy crime on another level, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit it's just their reality.
Yeah.
And I don't think people think about that. Like,
it's kind of weird how, like, we really are in the most recorded time ever of history, but it's so much misinformation and disinformation, man. It's like, it's so heavy with that like, I wonder if you was to find like a fucking modem, millions of years from now, like, you'd be able to decipher what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, you find some codes and shit.
A lot of shit is just like it's like misunderstanding. A lot of it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of shit is just like, people don't know where it even came from. They just kind of jump on something. A lot of people don't know where something even began. You know what I'm saying? The perfect example is the video I did on 9/11 with that woman's name.
Yeah.
They don't really stop to ask, how did this woman's name, Edna Cintrone, become associated with the waving woman? Nobody asks that question. It's like, are you thinking that somebody saw a figure in this fucking hole and said, oh, it's this random woman out of thousands of people who worked at the World Trade Center? Like, out of all the women, you picked that one person? No, that's not what happened. It was confirmed by the museum.
Yeah.
And then that information made it out to the public, because the museum's public, but it's information that you have to go and see for yourself. It's not, you can't just look it up and get the confirmation for whatever reason. I think that's stupid. I think that shit should be public. Like, I think it should be if I look up that woman's name, it should be a part of the memorial site. Like, this is who she is, and this was how it was confirmed or whatever. That's just my opinion. But you see a lot of people saying, like, oh, that's not her, or why do people think this is her? It's like, they said it was her, like, fucking 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, they said it was her. They talked about when they found her body. They talked about all of that. And till this day, it's still on display at the museum. But somehow, that one bit of info, it made it, someone had good intentions and put the information out back then. Over time, it's become like a thing where now nobody traces back where it started. Nobody thinks where this began. And it's just like, people go into that shit automatically thinking it's fake.
Yeah.
Or that the person's not real, or how is it her, or, oh, how is it that she's standing there when jet fuel can melt still? Like, nobody said jet fuel melted shit. Like, only weakened it. Like, you understand how big the towers were?
Yeah.
Like, they were an acre. Like, each floor was a football field. You're talking multiple floors stacked on top of each other. All it needed to do was like any blacksmith will tell you, like when you make like if a farrier makes horseshoes, you're not fucking melting steel. You're fucking bending. All it needs to do is be bent to shape it, and that's what happened. It bent under the weight, and it fucking collapsed. And then you have people say, "Oh, buildings don't collapse under that in pancake form." How many buildings have you seen fucking fall like that?
Are you a demolitions expert?
Like, how many?
Yeah.
No, for real. Like, how many times have you seen this happen that you can make that comparison? That's my only thing. Because 9 times out of 10, or to me, honestly, it's 10 times out of 10, people will make the argument, but they can't confirm anything else. They don't have any information to back it up. You know what I mean? And like, you see what Alex Jones is going through right now.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers paying billions of dollars because of him just going down that stupid ass route.
Yeah, and you know what sucks though is like it's like anything, right? It's because I do get how some of it does lead there, right?
Yeah.
Because there are real conspiracies
Of
that
course,
our
we know
government
that,
has
yeah.
pulled off, that officials have pulled off, that across the globe. You know,
Yeah.
there are real things like that.
Yeah.
And even the fallout from 9/11, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was like going into Iraq with
Of course, with no-
this information about weapons of mass destruction. It was bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, of course, and then you hear about how many lost lives that took place in this war, and it's like, all right, what is the truth? Of course, that's all fishy, and that should be. I totally get how that leads to the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Now they're listening to everybody. Everybody's like cool with
course.
being listened to.
Yeah, that's
So-
the thing. You can't really challenge these days. It feels like you can't challenge anybody's ideas of anything.
Yeah.
Without people classifying you as being dumb or like, yo, you just believe anything you're told. It's like, no, bro. There's truth to what you're saying. You're just going way fucking out of bounds with it.
Yeah.
Like, now you're just asking stupid shit. Like, you go from how does a building fall like that? How does this happen? Like, there was no melted steel, brother. Like, did you not see the mountains of debris and steel beams that were left there for years because they couldn't clean it up? And like, it was nobody. It's like I said, stupid shit people say that becomes like a reality. Nobody said that happened. It's like, Luke, I am your father. That never happened.
Yeah.
Like, he never said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm your father. What's the real line?
I forget the real line, but
we all know
yeah.
that's not the line,
That's
right?
not the actual
Luke, I
line.
am your father is not what he says, right? No, it's not. Isn't it like some other shit? He
I think
says,
it's-
"No,
Says,
I am."
Luke, I am your father.
He doesn't say that.
I think it's a different
You're gonna have to
line.
look that up. Look that up for us because that's really it.
That's like a Mandela effect.
Nah,
Yeah.
he doesn't see. I know
I
that
think it's a different line.
it's a different line, but again, it becomes just a part of.
the zeitgeist.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
what it is. But again, it's unfortunate. It's terrible when these things happen. Nobody wants it to happen. There are absolutely things to look out for and like to pay attention to when shit like that does happen, because then it's like taking liberties. Like, oh, this is an opportunity to like use this as an excuse to do this and this. Like, the second 9/11 happened, I couldn't walk through a train station in the hood without seeing armed military men, and that shit was crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I never seen that before.
Yeah, that was
Bugged
neat.
out. So that
Yeah.
felt weird. Like, okay, but at the same time, like, they're on the edge. Like, they're not taking no chances. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, you kind of got to do that.
you
at that
kind of
moment.
have to, because then what happens when we get hit again? It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't do shit. Yeah, why? How could you let that happen after what happened before? Because that's what they said about 93. They're
Yeah.
not related, but you know what I'm saying? When 93 happened, it's like when 2001 happened, it was like, what the fuck, right? But again, it's one of the things where it just kind of becomes a part of the whole thing. It's like there's a lot of truth to a lot of the stuff people feel and say, but you got to be careful how far off you stray. Like, bro, we're not talking about, oh, that's not even a plane. That's digitally enhanced. That was put in there. But a guy told me I added the planes in to my videos. Like, you hear this shit?
Yo, that's crazy, man.
You hear that shit?
But that just shows you the line of thought process he's
Exactly.
got embedded into.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
forbid somebody like that gets into a position of power.
Yeah,
and
it
now
happens
that's
these days.
Yeah, and
It
now that's
happens.
just what it
a
is.
lot of people just take that as
Yeah,
you know,
like I
as
just
truth.
refuse to argue about that, man. I'm not getting into them discussions. Like, when it comes to politics, you know, it's a dirty game. You know, it gets very political.
Yeah,
But nobody wants nobody getting shot.
Yeah,
You
of
know what I'm
course
saying?
not.
Nobody wants nobody getting assassinated. Nobody wants that. I know I don't. I don't want to see that shit happen. I want to see the country be in a good place without no problems. You know what I mean? I don't want
All
to
I
get
want is free healthcare.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yo,
saying?
yo, that's what I need. That's what you talking about politics. That's why
Universal
I vote.
healthcare.
That's why I vote the way I vote. As a comic,
Yeah.
as somebody trying to pursue these things, healthcare takes away so much of idea of freedom, tying it to a job.
Yeah, because now you
Like,
feel like you have to stay
You
at that
gotta
job.
you gotta work at a 40 an hour job. Okay, I get it. You want to be a productive person in society. I do too. But I feel like what I want to be doing isn't fucking in line with a union gig or whatnot right now.
Like basically,
I want to do stand up and shit. You know?
right. It's no worse feeling than having to stay with a job that doesn't work for you or that drains you or mentally or makes you feel terrible because you have something like healthcare.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's the part that gets very
dude, it's terrible. That's like why I vote the way I vote. And
Yeah.
going back to I gotta bring it up because we're actually wearing the shirt. Yo, shout out to Engine 222, man. Our boy Harry.
Our boy Harry.
Yo, rocking triple deuces, man.
Yeah,
Those are the real heroes.
I'll be
man.
rocking mine in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I got a video where I'm gonna have to be wearing that. So.
Firemen, man. You guys, that's a
bro.
brave job.
What? Of course.
You gotta jump
Anytime
into a fire.
anytime
I can't
I see
believe
that-
people do that.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you got to be a certain kind of dude. Harry's always been like a very, like, courageous young man.
Yeah. Like, stand this guy.
He stands like that.
Yeah.
My man Harry stands like this. 24/7. Yo, put the
When
photo.
he's resting, he goes like that.
Put the photo up of him right here. Of him standing like that at the show.
Do we got one?
I got one.
Oh, that's perfect.
But no, that's our man, bro. He's a firefighter. He actually lost a family member September 11th himself.
Yeah.
That was, and I mean, I've known him since that time, like before that, since high school and stuff. So, like, all this stuff affects everybody differently. You know, I know there's people who are very scared about that attempt the other day, because if he does become president, you got to think that might happen again, or people are on edge about that.
Yeah.
It's just bottom line, nobody wants that shit. Nobody wants to experience that again. It's not good for anybody. It doesn't do any good.
You don't even know in which ways, like going full circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I think we need to just get back to coming, a full circle again. Like even with sports, right? You go support a team in New York and shit. You don't give a fuck about nobody's politics. It's like, yo, I'm rocking with this team. We Knicks fans. I don't care if you a fucking
like
a Republican, a Democrat, an Independent. Yo, is Jalen Brunson gonna score tonight? Like,
like
is he going for 40? So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much good, and like, I think more people. I get, like I said before, how people are disenfranchised right now, and there's so much strife right now, and people don't feel like they can make it up the ladder to buy houses, and the economy sucks, and all that shit is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But we're at a better place than we were fucking 100 years ago, even 200 years ago. You know what I mean? We don't gotta think about fucking like, dude, I get to leave this. I got food and I got a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
all viewpoints. It all depends on who you are. Everyone has their own reasons for feel like. I don't ever want to make it feel like anything we're saying here is to make to deter anybody from feeling how they feel, or like trying to say be appreciative or whatever. Everyone has their own viewpoints from how they were raised, whatever politics they were listening to or raised on in their home or whatever. So everyone has a bunch of different angles about this, but for me personally, I just don't think anything is worth taking someone's life like that over. There's certain situations where if somebody is spewing hate or they have a certain, fan group or whatever, like there's going to be situations where people are like, well, you could see how that happened. You could see how someone would make an attempt or something like that. Like, but at the same time, it's like, bro, that there's someone like that for everybody.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to try to be getting at the next person in every way, shape, or form. Like, it's not right to have that shit just become normal. And then you're trying to tie it to, like, that gives me the same vibe as, like, when you hear about something happening at a school. Like, when there's a school shooting and you hear about the kid and who did it, and it's like they were an outcast, they were a bully, they were XYZ. It's like, that's what that is. That's what that feels to me. It feels like to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I'm glad it wasn't a bloody situation. You got somebody who lost their life at the rally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what the first thing I woke up to today? people are pulling up that man's tweets, you know, and now his tweets speak for him. So he's not even getting respect. His family's getting shitted on, and everybody's looking at tweets of the guy that got killed, and it's like he was saying a bunch of wild shit apparently. So it's like, and like I said, it's a weird time because now that's what it is.
That's the course on everything.
Right, and that shit to me is like it's a lose-lose in a way. You know, it's just weird.
Yeah.
You just kind of wish that kind of shit wasn't happening no more because it just kind of feels like something worse is gonna happen. You know?
Yeah, it always feels like, and I mean that's just the truth.
That's where I'm coming from. Like it just feels like it could, like that kind of stuff leads to worse things because somewhere out there's a guy that thinks this is like a bigger thing than it was. It wasn't like, I mean, it's a big deal. Don't get me wrong, but somebody believes that kid was like a part of a party that was like.
Yeah, the Democrats,
right? So
National
now
committee and shit. Like, yeah, he's gonna.
What's gonna happen? Now you gotta worry about what's gonna happen at a rally for Biden, or what's gonna happen at a future protest or whatever. And there's a lot of people who don't want violence. There's a lot of people who don't want that kind of shit to happen. Who attend these rallies? Who attend, you know, conferences and protests, and they could end up being victims for nothing. You know, that's how I think about it. I just think that kind of, you could definitely have the politics without the violence.
Totally, man. We gotta pay attention to the course of history, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's gonna end war. I'm just saying like it's something that I think you could do without the fucking a fucking high school graduate climbing on a fucking roof.
But that's the thing. Like going back, you don't know where it could go. So that's the thing about these little turning points and these happenings. It's just insane. You got to always try to steer the course towards peace, man, because you don't know what little events can, the outfall of them could be, you know?
Yeah.
The fallout of them.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, I think that's probably going to be it for today.
Yeah, man. I mean, good just talk.
Chopping it up.
Just
a regular one.
Yeah.
The Reggie's podcast right here. One of the Reginalds. Chopping it up, you know. Thank you for fucking coming back, man. We'll be back with some awesome guests in the next following weeks and shit. And we're going to be doing a lot more cool shit. Yeah, man. Just like, let's just try to fucking appreciate each other like we've been saying, man. Yeah. We have to, man. We're all that we got.
Yeah, you know, I just, like, I would have hate for something like that to happen, and it's somebody I know or love or, you know, whatever, like, that lost their life or something like that. That's how I think about these things. You know, friends who are at these things, you know what I'm saying? Like, whether it be not that necessarily, but a protest or just in the vicinity or something, you just never know which route things could take. So, yeah, appreciate each other, man. That's it.
That's it, man. I'm Mario Benitez.
I'm Jose Ortiz.
And this has been another Saturday Gigantic, man. See you next week. Peace.